Mount Rushmore. Today, thousands of bikers roar right through South Dakota's Black Hills during the Sturgis motorcycle rally. But in the early 20th century, there were very few good roads, which meant it was hard to get here at all. That's why South Dakota State historian Dwayne Robinson wanted to build a monument that could lure tourists to this wondrous landscape. When he saw this group of now famous granite spires, known as the Needles, he imagined using them to carve giant portraits of heroes of the American West. Heroes like Lewis and Clark, Buffalo Bill Cody, and the great Sioux chief Red Cloud, who had fought and died to keep the Black Hills off limits to miners, settlers, and even the kind of tourists Robinson hoped to attract. But when Danish-American sculptor Gutzon Borglum saw the Needles, he wasn't convinced they would be suitable for large-scale carvings, and told Robinson he feared they would end up looking like misplaced totem poles. But he soon found another location just a few miles away that he thought would be perfect. A giant wall of solid granite, big enough for multiple carved portraits, each up to 6 stories tall. There was, he declared, no piece of granite comparable to it in the United States. He also thought that a national tribute to U.S. presidents would be more appealing than heroes of the West. "I want to create a monument so inspiring that people from all over America will be drawn to come and look and go home better citizens," he said. Soon, President Calvin Coolidge and others were helping secure federal funding. It took more than 14 years for Borglum and 400 workers to blast and chisel this world-famous quartet of former presidents. George Washington came first, his familiar profile emerging from the mountain in less than 3 years, in time for an especially patriotic dedication on July 4th, 1930. Thomas Jefferson followed, in a spot to Washington's right, but unstable stone there forced Borglum to dynamite his original Jefferson and moved the 3rd president to Washington's left. Jefferson's revised image received its dedication in 1936. Lincoln came next, in a spot originally intended for a giant tablet inscribed with an inspirational text. Then, all hands turned to adding Teddy Roosevelt to the group. After Borglum died, his son Lincoln oversaw the carving of the final details. On October 31st, 1941, just 14 years after work began, the monument was declared complete. Today, evidence of the enormous effort it took to do the job can still be seen here. When all was said and done, 800 million pounds of rock had been removed, from the fine chisel marks on the president's faces to the orderly lines of scars left on the surrounding stone by dynamite and drills, to the enormous piles of rubble below. In 1959, the monument provided the setting for 2 of Hollywood's most infamous moments in Alfred Hitchcock's classic thriller, North by Northwest. In one key scene, Hitch has icy blonde Eva Marie Saint pretend to shoot leading man Cary Grant in the visitor's center. Then, he sends Grant, Saint, and villain Martin Landau on a deadly chase across the president's faces. Hitchcock was planning to shoot this second scene on the monument itself, but a journalist spilled news of the planned chase, and the National Park Service shut Hitchcock down, which is why the final scene was filmed on a Hollywood soundstage instead.